The drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's injury has spiraled into something much bigger than just another player sidelined. What should have been a straightforward timeline about her recovery has instead turned into a firestorm of confusion, anger, and suspicion directed squarely at Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White and the organization's front office. What began as whispers of inconsistency is now being called out as one of the most blatant cover-ups in recent WNBA history, and fans have been relentless in pulling receipts, dissecting every statement, and pointing out every contradiction until the narrative completely collapsed under its own weight. Back in mid-July, Clark's injury was first explained as a groin issue after she took a reckless knee from Jacy Sheldon. The description was kept vague but safe. Day to day, nothing too alarming, with an expected ramp up into late August. By then, everyone assumed she'd be back on the court, refreshed, and ready to lead the Fever again. That's what fans bought into, both emotionally and financially. They kept buying tickets, tuning into broadcasts, and following along under the impression that the star of the league was on her way back. But as that late August timeline approached, suddenly another injury appeared in the story. Out of nowhere, Clark was said to have hurt herself in a workout on August 7th. It was a neat, PR-friendly explanation that could keep fans patient. Except there was a problem. Fans had video footage of Clark on that same day walking around in Phoenix, looking totally fine and uninjured. And once that footage made the rounds online, the entire story began to unravel. Stephanie White didn't help the situation when she went on ESPN on August 12th and confidently said she hoped Clark would be back in practice that week. Cameras rolled, fans perked up, and tickets kept selling. But when the open portion of practice came around, Clark wasn't there. Afterward, White pivoted, saying, "It's status quo until Clark is back at practice." That statement only deepened the distrust. If Clark had truly gotten hurt on the 7th, why go on TV and raise expectations on the 12th? Either White was knowingly misleading fans, or the organization was so incompetent they couldn't keep track of their own star player's condition. Neither explanation sat well, and the receipts started piling up. Fans began connecting another incident that had almost been buried under the new narrative. The moment when assistant coach Beyond January literally stepped on Clark's foot during a game. That footage, showing January coming down on Clark's left foot, the same one now said to be injured, made its way back into the conversation. Suddenly, the August 7th workout excuse didn't just look fishy, it looked like an outright fabrication, designed to hide the reality that Clark may have been injured by her own staff. If true, that's not bad luck, that's negligence. And negligence mixed with misleading public statements moves into dangerous legal territory. Meanwhile, reporters covering the Fever didn't exactly calm the storm. On air, some laughed while recounting Clark's unlucky injuries as if the sidelining of the league's biggest star was a punchline. Fans watching weren't laughing, they were furious. The Indiana Fever don't just have a player in Caitlin Clark, they have the WNBA's billion-dollar face. Every arena she plays in sells out. Every broadcast she's on sees a ratings spike. Every sponsor attaches themselves to her brand. And yet, the organization entrusted with her health and career has treated her like a prop in a badly written PR campaign, offering vague reassurances, fake injury timelines, and scripted sound bites that don't sound like Clark's authentic voice at all. That's another piece fans have pointed out. Every time Clark addresses her recovery, she uses the same lines about working hard, feeling good, and being unlucky. It doesn't sound like her. It sounds like corporate damage control, a carefully drafted script designed to keep refund requests at bay. For fans who have poured money into tickets, travel, and merchandise, that's not just disappointing, it feels like fraud. And that word, fraud, has become louder in recent weeks as fans and analysts suggest this situation could actually invite investigation from regulators. Selling tickets under the implication that Clark might play when the organization already knows she won't isn't just dishonest, it could legally qualify as deceptive consumer practice. If a precedent like that were established, the fallout would be catastrophic for the Fever and possibly the league itself. This is where the real danger lies for Stephanie White. What started as a PR blunder is now creeping into the realm of lawsuits, sponsors backing away, and investigations that no franchise wants. Imagine the precedent: fans filing class action suits over being misled into buying tickets, sponsors pulling their deals because their million-dollar investment in Clark's brand is compromised by a credibility crisis, regulators probing whether the team and league coordinated misleading injury reports to protect revenue. Suddenly, this isn't just a basketball issue, it's a crisis that threatens the league's fragile growth, and the spiciest theory circulating among fans and commentators only makes the story darker. Maybe this wasn't just incompetence, maybe it was intentional. Clark entered the league like a tidal wave, pulling in fans who had never watched the WNBA before and instantly becoming its brightest star. Almost immediately, narratives emerged. She was too skinny, she needed to bulk up, she wasn't ready, the push for her to build muscle came quickly, and some now believe the rapid physical demands led directly to her injuries. If true, that's not coincidence. That's mismanagement at the highest level, and White's staff is at the center of it. The contradictions are undeniable. Clark went from day to day to indefinite, then from a hopeful August 12th return to suddenly being listed as a game-time decision, only for White to later admit she hadn't even practiced. The timeline doesn't add up, and the explanations collapse under even mild scrutiny. Fans who once gave the benefit of the doubt have turned into investigators, and every new contradiction fuels more suspicion. Instead of keeping quiet, White doubled down at every turn, and each time she did, she made the backlash worse. Instead of protecting Clark, she's turned her into the centerpiece of a scandal that could haunt the league for years. The most tragic part is Clark herself. Everyone knows she's sharp enough to see the holes in the story. She knows the dates don't add up. She knows the lines she's being fed sound fake, but she's trapped. Speaking out would risk being branded difficult or disloyal. So she's forced to nod along with a narrative she didn't write, silenced in her own story while fans watch in real time. For those who see her as the future of women's basketball, that's not just heartbreaking, it's infuriating. Now the Fever face two paths: admit they mishandled this, come clean, and rebuild trust with fans who deserve honesty, or more likely keep spinning, keep hiding, and watch as the receipts pile so high that the scandal explodes beyond their control. Because if this blows up on the national stage, Stephanie White won't just be dealing with angry fans. She'll be facing sponsors pulling millions, reporters dissecting every lie, and possibly even regulators knocking on the door. Once the words fraud or false advertising enter the headlines, the Indiana Fever won't just have a credibility problem, they'll have a legal one. At the heart of it all is trust. Trust between fans and the franchise. Trust between sponsors and the league. Trust between players and the front office. And every lie told about Caitlin Clark's injury chips away at that trust until there's nothing left. Clark is the face of the WNBA, the brightest star it's ever had, and she deserves protection, respect, and transparency. Instead, she's been caught in a web of deception that puts her health, her career, and the league's future at risk. This isn't just sloppy communication, it's dangerous. And unless the Fever and the WNBA wake up to that reality, they could be staring at the collapse of everything Clark built for them. So what do you think? Is this just a messy PR slip-up, or are we staring at a full-blown investigation waiting to explode? Can you still trust the Fever when it comes to Caitlin Clark's injury reporting, or has the damage already been done? Let us know down in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a single update.